Hello, art nerds! Yes, welcome to another truly crappy production of Drawing with Trav. Yes, hello, great to be here. Calm down. Today we're going to be talking about perspective. What is perspective? Perspective is that truly unique human quality where we can take something that is two-dimensional or drawn in a two-dimensional plane and make it feel three-dimensional using perspective. Perspective is essentially kind of an approximation of the drawing of a solid or of a space, and it's based on a lot on proportions. But let's talk about the first the elements that make up perspective. First off, there's always what's called the horizon line, all right? Also called the eye line. I'll draw a little eyeball right there. And I'm going to put a little HL here. And that is just what it is, just what it says. That is where the sky meets the ground. It's also called the eye line because it is essentially that. It is where your eyes are at all times, whether you're in a helicopter 1,000 feet in the air or whether you're laying on the ground. The horizon line follows you, all right? Very important, the horizon line. Also with perspective, there's, in one point, there's a vanishing point. And the vanishing point will always land on the horizon line, all right? If we're working in one point, and we'll talk a little bit further in terms of one point, say we have a couple planes that are facing us. As these planes vanish back to the vanishing point, we pick a random depth here. These stay parallel. These are yet another element of perspective, and they are the vanishing lines. They are the projected lines that give a sense of three dimensions. We'll shade aside here. And we'll talk about more of the particulars in regards to one point in a little bit. So let's take a closer look at how one point perspective works using this little simple diagram. You'll see here on the left side of the diagram, it's a little plan view over here. Plan view is looking from above down. So you see the guy pointing over here towards an object right here. And this line right here represents, has a little PP on it, represents the picture plane. The picture plane, again, is that plane that's between you and whatever it is you're drawing. And so for us, it's going to essentially be our piece of paper. We can define a picture plane, using our fingers like a film director does, or using your phone or a viewfinder that we cut. There's different ways to define that picture plane. But here we're just kind of using it as that parallel plane that's between us and whatever it is we're drawing, which is essentially our sheet of paper. How one point works, obviously we have the horizon line and we have one vanishing point right here. That's first what we would set up. And we would also then notice that the two sides here of the object are perfectly parallel to the picture plane. And in one point perspective, faces that are parallel to the picture plane stay true. They stay at that 90 degrees parallel and perpendicular. So you see the outside frame of this box, this object that they're drawing, and they're drawing into the box, that stays true. It stays a true box. The vanishing happens on these two sides of the box then as they project back to the vanishing point, to the back face, which again is parallel to the picture plane. Thus, it stays true and remains just a box. Of course, it's smaller now because in perspective, as they give a sense of depth, they give a sense of space, things get smaller as it's pushed back to give a sense of distance back in to the space. This is why one-point perspective is great for things like corridors or alleyways or long sidewalks or looking up a railroad track or something like that. You get something that's more linear and long is great for the use of one-point perspective. Let's look at some more one-point perspective drawings with 1 point again, horizon line, one single vanishing point. Everything vanishes back to that except for those planes that stay parallel to the picture plane. Here's some examples here. All these faces here in this blurry little slide, they're all parallel to the picture plane, so they stay parallel. They're all 90 degrees with these simple boxes. And then everything vanishes back from there to create the idea of something being three-dimensional. These are sort of worm's eye view, where we're looking up, and these are all kind of like aerial bird's eye view, and this is kind of an eye level view, right straddling this horizon line right here. All right, perspective can be used to create a focal point, like in Da Vinci's Last Supper. Oh, there it is, the vanishing point right on the forehead of Christ in the Last Supper. So let's look at some drawings. It's an old drawing of mine. It's a 1 point perspective, but we can see where that horizon line is, and then all the vanishing lines that come to that to create this kind of sidewalk. Sidewalk like this, long, linear, perfect for a 1 point perspective. Drawing by Dennis Elaine, kind of looking down a corridor with some buildings on either side. There we've got our orange horizon line, and then all these vanishing lines. What's nice, this is an eye level drawing, and the reason we know it's an eye level perspective is that all the heads of the people line up on the horizon line. It makes putting people in an eye level perspective very easy. And this guy back here, even though it's much smaller, is the same size as this person right here, right? Head lines up on the horizon line. It's just that idea of with perspective, things in the distance get smaller, they get foreshortened, but they're all the same size. It's just an illusion. Same thing here, Dennis Elaine, another drawing by him. Nice 1 point, another eye level view. You see the horizon line through here, the vanishing point here, and all the vanishing lines creating the perspective for this drawing. And again, all the heads for the most part are on the horizon line except where they've stepped up on a stair here, or those that are on the balcony up here. So as an example, and because your assignment, my Art 111 students here in Arizona, your assignment is to use the letters of your name and create a perspective using the letters of your name. I'm going to do the first three letters of the first four letters of my first name and then my last name, both above and below the horizon. Let's take a quick look at that. First I'm going to draw, and this is going to be in 1 point perspective. First I'm going to draw my horizon line. Make sure we can see what's going on. I'm going to pick just right here in the middle, vanishing point. Horizon line, and then a VP for vanishing point. Alright. I'm going to come up here, I'm going to use my roller bar, my straight edge. And I'm going to create some guidelines. And remember, anything that is essentially parallel to the picture plane, it stays true. So it's going to be pretty simple for the most part to just initially draw out the letters of your name. I'm not going to worry about getting these perfect. I'm going to start with the T. And so you want to give your letters some thickness like this, or depending on how you want to do it. The R, a little more interesting because of the curve. I'm going to keep it similar width. Find a spot in here. If you don't like the curve, you can keep it real square, but you can stylize it however you want to do. Those of you that are into graffiti, you can make it really crazy and nuts if you want to. I'm going to keep it all squared off. Very blocky. There's my R. I'm going to create a little space here for my A. A similar kind of width. Right there in the middle. I'm going to find the middle. My one end. I'm going to go to either side of the middle for my A. And I'm just going to try to quickly lay out some blocky letters here. And then finally do a quick V. I'll create a little box for that. Find my middle. And a little bit wider. The middle is here. I'm going to go to either side of that. Not worried about being perfect. Just want to create kind of a blocky letter. Stay parallel here. And there's my name in big old blocky quick letters using this wonderful roller bar which I've given to each one of my students. Little secret. Blick sells these roller bars for $8, $9, $10. I don't know what they are. But you can go to a place called Menards. It's a hardware store out of the Midwest. And they also sell these, and they sell them for about $2 a piece. So I order a shipment of them for my students at the beginning of each class. Alright, so there's the letters of my name. Trav. First 4 letters. Now we're going to come from all these corners here. Alright. Boom, boom, boom. And we're going to keep these as solids. We vanish back then from each one of these corners down to our vanishing point, using our straight edge, keeping one end of the straight edge on the vanishing point, and the other end just finding these corners, and I'm just going to automatically vanish them all down to here. Keep them kind of light. We don't want to make them too dark. Here's another corner. Kind of light to that side. These corners, this corner right here and this corner right here, they're behind the letters, so we're not going to see them. I'm not going to bother drawing anything for them. Alright, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to vanish the R. It's going to get too busy. I'm going to first finish off this T. I'm going to pick a random thickness of the depth of my T. I'm going to start with this line with my roller bar, and I'm going to come down and just pick a thickness. Right there works for me. I found that thickness. I can use that for the rest of the T. Now I line my roller bar up with this line. I roll over to where the 2 meet there for the bottom of the T. And I can create that vertical. Now I line this up with this horizontal. I rotate down. It's going to run into the R there. We're going to miss where it actually comes in there. And we can bring it over to this side also. And then I like to shade those projected surfaces so that I know they're 3-dimensional. Just like that. There's the T. Let's start on the R, going from all the corners. Now from this corner here, that corner there. We have a corner right here. That corner comes down to the top part of this R. Comes down, keeping one side of your parallel bar on the vanishing point, and the other side you're just kind of seeking out corners. There's a corner here, but it goes behind the leg of the R. This corner up here though, we'll see that punch that's inside the R. We'll show that one. The rest of this goes behind, that goes behind, that goes behind. There's no reason to project it. Let's use the thickness we use for the T. We start up here parallel with the bottom of the R. We rotate down to the thickness of the T. We'll match it for this thickness of the R. So the bottom of the sloped leg and this leg here. Now for our vertical, we line that up. Just move over to where it meets the vanishing line here. We stay parallel here. And we want to stay parallel with this angled one. Alright, it's not vanishing anything, it's just staying parallel to the one we already drew here. Alright, so now we've got the leg of the R. We're not going to see anything on top because everything is looking up at it. Alright, for this thickness here, we want to stay kind of similar to here. We can kind of guesstimate approximately the same thickness here is the same thickness here. Good enough. And where that meets the vanishing line, we project up and we can shade that in. We can shade this in. Shade along the bottom on the leg of the R. Inside of here, bring a little shade on there. We want to go the same thickness here we want to do here. Just something very similar. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then where it meets that vanishing point, do that a little better. Now we've got where that punched hole is in the R. Alright, now the R is three-dimensional. Let's start with the A. Start with this corner. The next corner. One end of your roller bar on the vanishing point, the other finding the corners of the letters. These corners here, project down, project down. This corner right here we're going to be able to see. Project that down. These go behind the A, we're not going to see them. These go behind the A, you're not going to see them. Let's choose a similar thickness to what we had with the R here. Boom, boom. Use that point where that new depth meets that vanishing line. We stay parallel to the angle of the A here. We stay parallel to the angle of the A here. Just using our roller bar, lining it up. We stay perfectly horizontal across here. Now we have the bottom of our A. And we go to this corner. We line up one end on the vanishing point, and the other comes off of those corners. This corner up here. We stay parallel. First, let's get the depth down here. Stay parallel to the bottom here. Get the same depth as the A. Make a line there, and that helps us find this side. First, we stay parallel to the angled side on the left side of the V. Move over to where it meets, where these two come together. There's one side of our V. Same thing with this here. It's coming down. And we have this thickness, boom, boom, to there. It's about right there. It's about the similar thickness to there. Close enough. Stay parallel. Just got to sell the illusion of depth. Sometimes we'll even cheat thickness just to make it feel right visually. And there you have it. There's the first four letters of my name, my first name, along the top. I'm going to do just two letters on the bottom, and they're all vanishing back to one point. I'm going to do two letters here. I'm going to do just I'm going to do the letter C from my last name, and then the letter E. I'm going to do them spread apart here just so you can see them on either side of the vanishing point. I'm going to rough this C in. Doesn't have to be perfect. Something like that. And I'm going to do an E. E's got a multiple, about the same thickness as my C. I'll take all the legs out to the end here. Alright, I'm going to start with a C. We're going to project it back. Now we're above. We're doing more of an aerial view. I'm going to put one end of my roller bar on the vanishing point, and I'm going to take the other end until I meet tangent with the curve of my C, and I'm going to project that back, just like that. Then I'm going to put one into my roller bar on the vanishing point, and I'm going to go to the other curve of the C, and I'm going to get tangent to where I'm just touching the edge of it. I'm going to project that back. Now I got a few corners here. Alright? I can project those. This is going to be from this corner. Going to have this really narrow area here. From this corner to the vanishing point. From this corner to the vanishing point. Now this one, it's hiding behind the C. I'm not going to bother showing that. Alright? Now we can find kind of a similar thickness to what we did here. It's totally up to you. We can start with this. This is running parallel to the horizon line. I'll just choose a thickness here. We'll go about that thick right there. It stays parallel to that line. We've chosen a thickness. And now we've got to stay parallel to this curve here. We just got to fake it in and get close. I'll even shade an edge there. Alright. Same thing here. We can project up that thickness approximately. So this thickness is about the same as here, here. And now we've got to stay parallel to here. I'm just going to rough it in and get close to give an illusion of thickness. Alright? Now this is kind of an interesting one here. Let's see here. You're going to have this thickness showing through here on the C. Alright? Knowing that this is vanishing back here. So you can come along here and give a few vanishing lines along this curve that are about this length right here. And it's going to get slowly tucked back up into there. And you can then follow that to create the curve of that inside of that C. And shade that in. Alright, so if you need to get this thickness here, just come along this initial line you drew and draw similar depth, similar length lines to what your chosen thickness is in a few places. This one's going to start to go up into the C there from this curve that you drew initially, and then you just kind of connect them up as best you can, and that'll create the inside of that C. For the E now, all these corners. Trying to go quick here. All these corners of the E. Alright? D is going to go behind the E. We don't need to show those. Those behind the E. Alright? Let's pick a random thickness. I'm going to start parallel to this edge. Ooh, I went pretty thick here. Alright? So this same thickness, kind of right in here. Same thickness, right in here. Shade that in. Shade that in. Shade that in. Shade that in. So those are letters. All these different angles, all these different shapes that you can do in one-point perspective. It makes it much easier. Alright? Go out and do your name. See what it looks like.